the helm. And that is straightaway field at the 10-yard line, up the field. Huge hit down on the tackle, forces him out of bounds.
So welcome to Hubstein Field, everybody, as Plainfield takes that opening kickoff out near the 30-yard line, and a flag is out. The 112th meeting between the Blue Devils and the Cardinals, oldest rivalry in Union County. Glad you can join us, everybody. Michael Ayer alongside Chris Witzel and Alex Kingsley. And the flag is on Plainfield. Blue Devils lead the all-time series 59-45-7. Westfield beat Plainfield 32-6 last season, Chris. And the Blue Devils coming off a very impressive win last week against Union.
Yeah, Mike, it was a great game. Phil Martini threw to Jack Shirk 3 times, and they were all touchdowns, Mike. It was just an unbelievable game. And also the defense was stellar, only giving up 7 points. But also Westfield took another big hit with senior tight end, punter, and defensive lineman Kyle Dombrowski out with a rib injury. So again, Westfield's starters are just going downhill.
Plainfield carries the ball up the middle for a few yards. Dombrowski's injury, though, Chris, not serious at all. He'll be ready to go next week in the state title when the Blue Devils will meet up with Bridgewater for the 2nd consecutive season. That game is next Saturday, the 3rd of December, 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium.
And Mike, again, that game is going to have so much hype because Westfield, again, they won last year. Bridgewater, Raritan is going to want revenge. But the way Westfield's been playing this season, it's going to be a tough game, Mike.
We have another flag as Nasim Woodward under center for the Cardinals. And it's a false start on Plainfield. So 3 plays into this game, and the Cardinals already with 2 penalties. And that's why they're 1-8 this season, Chris.
And yeah, Mike, their first one of the season came last week against Eastside. And every time they lost the season, Mike, it was more than 20 points. So they're just having a very, very bad season this year.
Running back in motion, 4 receivers set. Woodard over the middle. Scanlon got a hand on it and almost picked it off. Ben Kelly also almost caught that one at the end.
And like Connor Scanlon already has 1 pick this season, could have had a second one there, but that was just great defense from Scanlon on the Plainfield receiver. But it brings up about a 3rd and long here for the Plainfield offense, and Westfield's defense is one of the top in the state. Pretty good shot of them shutting it down here and forcing them to punt. I'm like, this is the first time this year Westfield's playing on a grass field. Brings us back to the old days.
Third down for the Cardinals, 10:34 to go. Woodard running to his left. Trying to scramble on that outside, picks up good yardage, but not enough for the first down. Westfield's defense makes the stop. They've been terrific all season long. Only allowing 7 to a good Union team. 2 shutouts on the year for this Westfield defense. And they force the Cardinals to a 3-and-out on the opening possession here on Thanksgiving Day.
And yeah, Mike, we see Emmett Smith line back deep. We're probably not going to see too many starters play today as they want to preserve them for next week. Don't want to get anyone injured. But Emmett Smith, we've seen him back there a few times this season when Shirk was on the sideline, and we'll probably see more of that today.
There's the punt. Emmett Smith, the sophomore, back to return. Takes it from the 50, and he's brought down quickly by a bunch of Cardinals.
You know, Mike Smith just should have let that one just roll. I mean, that wasn't going anywhere. It bounced straight up. It could have still been at the 50. But again, Westfield, great starting field position right at midfield. And they've been doing it all the season long, stopping the opposing team's offense deep in their own territory, making them punt it 30, 40 yards. And Westfield's just taking advantage.
So out comes this Westfield offense. The senior Phil Martini didn't have his best stuff last week in that first half, But senior receiver Jack Shirk sure did, Chris.
Yeah, like Phil Martini, he had 2 interceptions. That's season high for him in a game. But also Jack Shirk, he had over 150 yards receiving. That is just outstanding. Even against a defense like Union, it was unheard of.
208 yards receiving. Wandre House on the carry. The junior. Martini last year on Thanksgiving against the Cardinals back at home threw for 2 touchdowns coming in to replace Zach Kelly. Jack Shirk had a touchdown that game along with Kyle Dombrowski, who had that incredible one-handed grab.
Yeah, like I rewatched that last night. That was a very nice catch by him.
And
Defender all over him.
And Jack Shirk's brother Kyle Shirk, as Martini's pass to Ian Humphrey is incomplete, wide right to the sideline. Jack Shirk's brother Kyle Shirk, who has not played a single second this year because he's out with an ACL injury. He had a pick 6 in that game. So it's pretty cool. Both Shirks scoring on Thanksgiving Day last year.
Yeah, Mike, this game is not just, winning or losing. It also brings a lot of people together, a lot of people back from college. It's more of a family game than anything else.
Yeah, the Cardinals, this is it. Last game of the season, they had no chance of making the playoffs. As that's a high snap. Westfield loses it, and the Cardinals recover. And that is a huge play for this Cardinals defense, Chris. Walking into the stadium today, you could see the Cardinal fans not really looking forward to today's game. They knew it was going to be a tough one. But the defense gets a little lucky there, I guess you could say, with the high snap. And Westfield just couldn't pick it up. That ball was bouncing out there for a few seconds.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, Westfield, they can't take this game easy. They still have a huge 23-game win streak on the line. They just can't take this team easy because they could surprise you. I mean, Plainfield's the underdog, and sometimes the underdogs win. Westfield's got to stay composed, play the same way they've done all season. That's the first time we've seen Westfield screw up this early in the game, Mike.
And they have not trailed at all this season through 10 games. So that would be something if they're 1-8, Plainfield Cardinals. Could be the first team all year to take a lead. Woodard under pressure. Rolling to his right. And down near the 45, still on his feet, eventually pushed out of bounds by Ben Kaplan and Woodard and, by Ben Kelly. Woodard and Kelly.
Cups are getting in the backfield, Nick Moore with the dive. But overall, Woodard just got to the outside and broke a few tackles and eventually pushed out by Ben Kelly. But Westfield, I mean, they're facing a fast quarterback. They've seen it before. They saw it with Union last week with Justin Beckett. They just got to stay home, not overreact to anything, and just make sure that Woodard doesn't get into the open field.
.740 left. It's Porter in motion, and Woodard keeps it. Breaks one tackle, and then he's taken down by Connor Scanlon on the near side to bring up second about 8.
So Connor Scanlon, Mike, with the nice defensive stop before, and that time with the nice tackle for the Cardinals to lose a few yards. So it brings up second and long. And usually we haven't seen Cardinals pass much, only once, and it was incomplete. See if they do it here.
Coach Gisarno for Westfield in his 11th year, 81-55, as he said, the longest winning streak in the state at 23 games. And this is a Westfield team that does not lose to Plainfield. Coach Gisarno 9-1 against the Cardinals here on Thanksgiving Day. Woodard drops back and throws. Pass complete, but quickly taken down by Ben Kelly.
Mike, Ben Kelly's been so clutch this season. He has so many big hits, but there in the open field, he goes for the legs. That's where you want to tackle a guy in the open field, because if you go high, you can break the tackle and he'll be gone. Ben Kelly, that's why he's a starting safety. He knows what to do. He knows his internal reactions are the right thing to do, and we saw it right there.
Third and 8 here for Plainfield. Showing 5 receivers are the Cardinals.
First time we've seen Woodard by himself in the backfield.
Plainfield in all red, Westfield in all white. Sort of like the color rush out here today. Woodard under pressured. Gagum with the hit, and the pass sails into the sideline out of bounds to bring up 4th down and well out of field goal range.
Yeah, like this area, I mean, it's no man's land basically. You can either punt it or go for it. Because, I mean, either way, if you don't go for it, the opposing team's offense still has the ball pretty deep in their own territory. But looks like the Cardinals are going to bring out their punting unit and just pin Westfield back deep.
It's the junior Allen Boone out there to punt. Could potentially be a fake at 4th and 8.
Everyone's bunched up on the line, Mike. No gunners on the outside.
Ball at the 34. And it's a short punt at the 10. Smith returns it on the far side out to about the 20-yard line where Westfield's offense will come out. And Chris, not the first drive Coach Asarno was looking for. Westfield fumbles it.
Definitely not, Mike. I mean, Westfield offense, they've been stellar so season in their run game and their pass game. But last week we saw Phil Martini, a few hiccups in the road. I mean, bumps in the road. But we saw before the high pass and the fumble. Phil just, he's got to trust his receivers. Just trust his O-line and trust his running back. He's got to go out there and do what he does best. Just hit his targets.
Ian Humphrey and Thomas Facilla, the receivers on the near side. House with the carry up the middle. And he's taken down by Mark Daniels, the sophomore. He's played some quarterback this year for the Cardinals.
And like 2 weeks ago, we saw Wandre House have that huge 53-yard touchdown run. But last week against the Union's D-line, he got nothing. I think he maybe got 5-6 yards the entire game. So that just shows how good the Union defense was. But this week with a 1-8 Plainfield defense, Wandre could probably take advantage of that.
Martini from play action, rolling to his right. Fakes and throws, and it's incomplete. Intended for Ian Humphrey. We're not seeing Kyle Dombrowski. We know he's out, but Jack Shirk, haven't seen him either today. Coming off a career day where he broke some Westfield High School records.
But yeah,
had 3 touchdowns, 200 yards, best game of his career. An incredible career wrapping up for Jack Shirk and a bunch of these senior guys. But right now, Westfield really showing an inexperienced senior group as Stevie Barden comes in to play the slot.
Usually we see Adam McDaniel there, Mike, but now we see Stevie.
Pass intended for Barden, but it looked like that ball hit the ground, and it did. So it brings up 4th down. The Cardinals defense with a 3-and-out.
Michael, that was the first time we saw Stevie in the slot all season, so maybe Coach Sarno wanted to change things up a little bit. Probably see Stevie out there at wide receiver next year. Want to see what we can do. But now Aiden Bolam will be able to punt with Dombrowski out. And last week, when Dombrowski was out, he had a decent punt, about 35 yards or so.
And with Shirk and Dombrowski not playing so far, the inexperience of this Westfield wide receiving core. Stevie Barden has 1 catch for no yards on the season. Thomas Facilla, 1 catch for 10 yards. Ian Humphrey, no catches. So Phil Martini really working with an inexperienced group out there today.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, Phil, he had his favorite receiver early in the season, Mike Moriarty. He's out with a torn ACL. Then he had Adam McDaniel, who we haven't seen yet, play wide receiver. But then we also had Jack Shirk, who's now his favorite receiver, with 10 receiving touchdowns on the season. Just an unbelievable season. But Phil, he had a huge arsenal at the beginning of the season, but he shrunk it down due to the fact that he's dealing with, as you said before, inexperienced seniors.
4:45 to go here on Thanksgiving Day. The 112th meeting between the Blue Devils and the Cardinals. 72nd meeting on Thanksgiving Day. And on the camera right now, probably doesn't seem like it a big crowd because you only see those far bleachers. But down in front of us, it is completely filled. Always a big-time crowd when these two teams get together. Bowl and Spun is a good one down at around the 37-yard line where the Cardinals will take over.
And yeah, Mike, that's probably going to be Boland's main position next year. With Dombrowski going off to college, Boland will be the starter at punter and most likely field goals, and he might get some wide receiver action there as well.
Westfield defense, though, looking like the usual starters as compared opposite of what we're seeing on offense with some backups getting in. Front four been so dominant all year long, and they played a sensational game last week, Chris, especially Jake Val.
Yeah, Mike, he had 2 huge tackles, especially the one that sealed the game for Westfield to go to MetLife. Just an unbelievable tackle, and along with this entire D-line, Owen Kessler's probably the standout player by far. I mean, that kid's got so many stickers on his helmet, Mike.
Handoff up the middle to Antoine Spencer, but maybe picks up a yard or two. Junior Spencer picks up 1 yard to make it 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Mike, right now it's just a battle of the defenses, neither really giving up much. I mean, before we did see Plainfield with a nice run by Woodard, but it's just going back and forth between the defenses. Offense can't really get anything to go. It's probably because of Westfield with the inexperience, and also with Plainfield just not as much depth as Westfield has.
Another thing, big difference between these two teams, just look at the sidelines right now. Plainfield with about only 30 players on the roster.
Definitely
Most
right.
of the guys playing both ways. Woodard under pressure, Scanlon's there, and the pass is incomplete. Westfield's secondary bringing the pressure today.
Looks like Connor Scanlon on the hurry, Mike. And also, Woodard, that was a very smart decision. Most quarterbacks would try to take it back the other way, but there, that was a smart decision. Throw it out of bounds, throw it to where a receiver is. And that's what most quarterbacks are supposed to do. Some just try to cut it back to the other side of the field, try to make a play happen, but sometimes you just got to know nothing's going to happen. Get to the next down.
3rd and 9 for Plainfield. 3:34 to go, no score here in the first quarter at Hubstein Field. That's, if one thing Westfield's not been too great at, it's getting off to, in the first quarter sometimes, they've been pretty quiet and have been held scoreless a few times now in the first. Could see it again today. It's about a 3-game span where they were held scoreless, and the screen pass is incomplete.
We saw Kessler bringing the pressure, Mike, but I believe it was Nick Marr in the area. It looks like the Plainfield running back.
Intended for Taj Fag, just couldn't make the grab.
Yeah, Nick, I think he heard footsteps because that would hit him right in the breadbasket.
So 4th and 9. Cardinals will have to punt it for the second time today. The junior Alan Boone had a pretty good punt inside the 20 last time. Smith took it out, and that kick is blocked. And it'll bounce, and Westfield will take over at the 44. Jake Valabera got his hand on it.
Again, Mike, big plays by Jake Valabera. And he's only a junior, Mike. He has so much more room to improve, but he's shown this season what he can do, and it's just outstanding.
So Westfield's offense so far today, they lose on the first drive, they lose the football on the high snap. Martini can't recover, and on the second possession, a couple incomplete passes and a 3-and-out. House up the middle on the sweep, only picks up a few yards. House now in his 3rd game of the year. Had the big touchdown against Bayonne. Did cough up the ball last week against Union.
Yeah, Mike, when he fumbled before that, I thought, okay, Wanderer's getting into a rhythm right now. But then Mike Tverdov, the Rutgers commit, just went in there, stripped the ball out, and recovered it and everything. And that's when House, just couldn't get anything to go.
Martini with the pitch. House has some room, breaks free, and picks up the first down and more inside the 40. That's more like the Westfield offense we're used to seeing. And Wandre House pretty excited, clapping his hands. And Jay Kaplan tells him to calm down a little bit.
Jay Kaplan, he had a great block sealing off the inside for Wandre House. Nice little nifty spin move there, and it gets Westfield about a 20-yard gain, Mike. And now Westfield, momentum's getting onto their side. But as we saw last week, momentum was shifting back and forth every single drive, pick after pick.
Martini Gonna run up the middle. Picks up a few yards. Out to the 36. Martini having an incredible year, wrapping up his high school career with 1,533 yards, 21 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. 2 of those coming last week against the Farmers.
Yeah, Mike, those stats are unbelievable.
Martini, along with Shirk, also broke some school records last week. A minute and a half, House carry, and picks up a few yards, brings up 3rd and short. First quarter flying by here in Plainfield, only a minute and 10 left.
You know, like unlike last week, that game seemed like it was going on forever. Just so many turnovers from both teams, just swapping sides. It didn't seem the clock was moving at all in the second half.
3rd and 4 for Westfield. There's the toss. House near sideline. Gonna be close as he's tackled out of bounds. And the spot gives Westfield a first down. Good run from Wandre House. And good blocking from that O-line from Westfield. Just been solid all year long.
Now, Mike, that O-line, it gives so much time for Martini to throw. It also allowed this Westfield running game to just get out into the open. Players on that line, Mike, include Jack McCauley, Max Swetchy, Connor Root, Jordan Barham, Fran Allegro, and Brett Spass, all just having an incredible season. I know. What is it? Fran is hurt. I know, but he was still on the O-line.
So first quarter winding down. 2 receivers set for Westfield. Facillo on the near side, intended for Facillo. Some contact, but no flag. Incomplete to bring up 3rd down with just 3 seconds remaining in the opening quarter here on Thanksgiving Day. First time it feels like actual football weather. It's been beautiful all year long up until this point. 60 degrees just last week in late November.
Yeah, Mike, last week was probably the nicest game of the season. But now, yeah, a little cold, but it's the fall, Mike, and that's what happens.
Late draw, House. Up the middle, picks up a big first down. Into the red zone, inside the 15. And Westfield held scoreless here in the first quarter, but in the right direction as they pick up a nice first down. Wandre House on the carry. And Westfield will take over inside the red zone when we come back. No score here on Thanksgiving Day between the Blue Devils and the Cardinals. So welcome back here to Hubstein Field. Second quarter about to start. For the Blue Devils, not seeing any of Adam McDaniel or Jack Shirk today. At least on offense. Did see McDaniel on defense. House up the middle, and he's brought down. Plainfield's defense for a 1-8 ball club doing a pretty good job.
Left just to go out there and play their heart out. And sure, Wandre House is getting a few big gains, but their defense is doing pretty well. I mean, they're limiting the passing game. We haven't seen Phil Martini complete a pass all day. And, I mean, Wandre House is just making cuts left and right. They're containing him, but he's just breaking tackles. So they just got to stay level and just wrap up.
Martini, pass is caught, but Facillo quickly falls down. It's not the same energy we're used to seeing from this receiving core. Desarno a little hesitant to throw the ball with the current receiving core now. Another high snap. House up the middle. Gets a good push. House still on his feet. And it's a touchdown for Westfield. Wandre House, second touchdown of the season. And the Blue Devils take the lead here on Thanksgiving Day.
Mike Wandre House got another surge right there and a huge push from the offensive line just to get him across the end zone. Took a little hesitation from the refs to make a call. But Wandre House, what a touchdown.
The junior Aiden Bolin on to attempt the extra point. Ian Humphrey is holding. And the PAT is no good. Wide left. Bolin's second miss of the year. Missed one back against Bayonne when Moriarty first got hurt. Some interesting goalposts here at Hubstein Field.
Yeah, like they seem wider than they do at Keller, but also shorter in height.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Keller's more of an updated field. So if they were to redo the field, I'm pretty sure they would redo the goalposts.
The weather's pretty chilly and not maybe just a drizzle of rain, but 2 years ago, Westfield came when they played Plainfield here. Actually was started the streak at 23 games right now. And Westfield winning in overtime with Jack Curry's game-winning touchdown, 6-0, the final score. It was known as the Mud Bowl, and you got to see the pictures. You could not see the numbers of the guys. You could easily tell which guys played and which guys didn't, because the guys that played, their jersey was not white, it was brown.
Yeah, like my cousin was a cheerleader, and I asked her after the game who scored the game-winning touchdown. She didn't even know who it was. So people so close to the field couldn't make it out. It was just a muddy, muddy day.
So Tom DeRosa, the sophomore, doing kickoffs now with Moriarty out, and it's a good one, a touchback.
That's the second one of the season, Mike, and we've only seen Mike Moriarty have one touchback, but DeRosa, I mean, he just puts his whole leg into that one. We saw last week he had that little muffed kick that actually turned out in Westfield's favor, had a lot of backspin, actually wound back up in Jake Dayon's hands, and Westfield got the ball back.
So Plainfield's offense comes back out here. Have not gotten much going today. And throughout the season, most points they put up in a single game was last week against Eastside, but that was in the consolation game. If you take that one out, the most points they scored in a single game would be 14 against Elizabeth. They lost that one 46-14. They've been shut out twice against Union and Hillsborough, and they've been held in single digits 4 times, and that's not including the 2 shutouts. So it's been a long year for first-year head coach Corey Tucker. Took over for Jason Glesman, and really missing last year's senior quarterback, Jason Bryan, who's pretty darn good.
Like that kid could throw the ball. He had speed. He had everything.
They played pretty well, and they gave Westfield a fight last year on Thanksgiving early on. Then the Blue Devils took it over late in the second half. Woodard running to his right, and he takes a big hit.
Mike, there seemed to be a little miscommunication out there. I think it was number 22, Alan Boone, who was supposed to get the handoff there, but it looks like Woodard just kept it for himself, and it got him 2 yards. So it brings up 3rd and long here for the Plainfield Cardinals offense.
Rain beginning to come down in Plainfield. 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Blue Devils on top 6-0. After the rushing touchdown from junior Wandre House and a missed extra point by the Blue Devils. They hand it off. Ball's loose. Westfield has it. I believe it was Jeff Gagum who might have fell on top of it, and it is. And Westfield didn't even have to force that fumble. Plainfield just put it on the deck, and it was up for grabs. And the offense will now take over in great field position.
And like Jeff Gagum, he had 2 huge plays last week, 2 sacks, with the help of Jake Dayon. But Jeff Gagum, he's having another one who's just having a great senior campaign.
So they take over at the 19-yard line. Trying to make it a 2-score game. Martini drops, fires. Incomplete, intended for Scanlon. A lot of contact in that end zone, but no flag is thrown.
Mike Scanlon, linebacker, getting in there, wide receiver reps. Looks like Coach Atano just trying to put all of his seniors out there who haven't played too much this season, get them a chance to catch the ball, do what they can. And we saw Scanlon before. He had a nice tackle on the sideline. Great pressure on the receiver. And that time almost hit the touchdown.
That, to me, that looked like a flag from up here.
Me too, Mike.
Ian Humphrey in motion. Adam McDaniel checked out. And that's going to be a false start on Jordan Barham, looked like.
I believe it was Connor Root, Mike, and that's the first false start we've seen the Westfield O-line, I'm pretty sure, have this season. They've just been so composed and poised. Not really too many penalties on the offensive side.
A lot of returning guys who graduated from last year in attendance today. There's the pitch to Andre House on the far side, but he's quickly brought down.
Mike, I don't believe that was Connor Scanlon. I'm pretty sure that was number 8 of the freshman team, Colin Freer.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. Yeah, Freer, a freshman at wide receiver. Guys were telling me he was getting first team reps in practice this week. Good catch, Chris.
Yeah, I can make out the jerseys. Varsity guys have the newer ones, and freshmen have the ones from last year.
And it's another false start from Westfield.
And like you can see, Coach DeSarno and Coach Heyman not happy with that. Westfield, they've just been so good at maintaining their spot before the ball snapped all season. But there, 2 times this drive, it's happened.
So good for Colin Freer. First time we've seen in the past 2 years a freshman getting any action. There's a screen. Kaplan is tackled at the 15 to bring up 4th down. And now this right here is going to be interesting. It'll show us Aiden Boland's range with 7:30 left in the second quarter. Ball's at the 15. Westfield just going to go for it. With 3 receivers on the left side. Martini. Pass is caught for a first down. Ian Humphrey brings it inside the 5-yard line. Big play for Westfield.
Yeah, Mike, that just gains confidence for all the receivers and Phil Martini. Haven't been too well this season. But now, Mike, I mean, Jake Valabera is coming into the game. We've seen him a few times, just give it to Val. Runs it right up the gut for a touchdown. We saw him last week on a huge 3rd down play. They gave the ball to Val. He was stopped but put on the afterburners and got the first down for him.
Another high snap. Handoff up the middle. It's Valabera. And he's going to be just short of the end zone.
Mike, I'm pretty sure in the beginning of the season, Jake Val wasn't thinking of him getting any rushing touchdowns this season, but he's come this far, and he has 4 already on the season.
Yeah, Westfield really likes to use him for the goal line package. And the Blue Devils, obviously, the top 2 running backs out for the season. Matt Verano-ish, Glasgow, and that is a Westfield touchdown with Phil Martini. Makes it 12-0. Martini on the sneak. his 6th rushing touchdown of the year.
Mike,
And he's shown a lot of mobility this season, Chris.
I'll never forget the one against Scotch Plains. 45 yards to the house. I mean, it was fun to watch that one. Broke several tackles. And that was just another blow-up for Westfield, and that with Phil's running touchdown, just the icing on the cake.
Good kick from Aiden Bolin to make it 13-0. So after a bit of a slow start, Westfield back to a place they're comfortable with and used to this season. Up 13-0. Have not trailed at all, a single second this year. And they've only been tied once outside of score being 0-0 against Franklin in week 3 after a kickoff return made 7-7. Westfield blew that one out, though, 37-10.
Mike, NJ.com predicts Westfield will go on to win this game 38-14, so just another win for the Westfield Blue Devils if that holds water.
.6:15 to go. In the second, DeRosa will send it away. On the far side at the 12, returned by Nassim Woodward, the quarterback. 5'10", 175. Definitely a mobile quarterback. His ran more than he's thrown so far this early afternoon.
And Mike Woodard, I mean, look, as you said before, just look at the Cardinals sideline. Not too many players, so Woodard, with the great player that he is, he probably has to play most positions in at kick returner, punt returner, quarterback, and the rest that he's good at.
Towns have really come out today. Taj Fort Fag on the carry.
The big hit that he delivered on Jake Dayon right there, Mike.
Fort Fag only listed at 5'8", 165. Got some time last year in this Thanksgiving game. Cardinals really missing that combo of Jaleel Jackson and Cesar Cordoba. Handoff up the middle to make it 3rd down.
And like we've seen all day, this Cardinal offense just doing misdirection snaps. There we saw a read option plus a reverse in there. Just show, like usually when they do these, that just shows they have a lot of speed if they can get 3 or more guys involved in one play.
Third and 2. Both teams really taking their time here on offense. Nobody going no huddle. So clock really getting eaten up. And then the ball is loose again. Still loose. Plainfield picks up and then it's loose. And Stevie Barden almost had it, but Westfield picks it up for the easiest touchdown of the season right there.
I believe, Mike, it was Drew Ortiz. What a way to cap off his season. How about that, Mike?
Cardinals just cannot hold on to the ball in the second quarter. Make it 19-0.
I thought Stevie Barton was going to get to that first. That ball was just hopping around. That ball was just not going to someone's hands, and you just fell out into the end zone. I mean, that's what happens when you play on a grass field. There's bumps in the field that you just don't expect to be there.
Now that ball getting slippery with the rain coming down.
True.
On the field. Extra point attempt is a high one from Bolin, and it's down the middle and good. Blue Devils up 20-0. They continue to dominate their opponents. And it doesn't look like the Cardinals are going to end this streak. If Westfield holds on, it'll be number 24 in a row. And the big one, as Westfield can now look forward to, next Saturday against Bridgewater in the state title. Going to be a great game with an awesome atmosphere, awesome environment. And for the first time this season, Westfield's really going to get tested.
Yeah, Mike, this entire season, sure, Union put them to the test last week, and the same thing with Elizabeth, but this is probably Westfield's toughest test of the entire season, as you just said, because Bridgewater's ranked eighth in the state. All these other teams aren't even ranked in the top 20. So, yes, Mike, it will be Westfield's biggest test of the season.
Return from the 15 by Woodard and makes a nice cut. Breaks free. Nassim Woodward down the near sideline. Tries to tiptoe, and he does. Stay in bounds and scores a touchdown. 85 yards to the house on the kickoff from the senior Nassim Woodward in his final high school game. Chris, a touchdown Nassim's going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, Mike, that's just an unbelievable touchdown. He broke one tackle. I'm not sure who it was, but he had a nice move on around the 35-yard line, and he just broke free to the end zone. And that's a great way to end your football career, Mike, with an 85-yard kick return. And he will definitely remember that for a long time.
So now the Cardinals will come out for this extra point, and they could cut it back to a 13-point lead. If they didn't have those fumble miscues, this could be a lot better of a game.
Absolutely.
Antoine Boone on for the extra point, and not how they drew it up right there from the Cardinals.
Mike, it looked like he was lined up behind the holder. I'm not sure what was going on right there, but that thing was a line drive to absolutely nowhere. But Westfield, that's what happened to Aiden. Missed the extra point, so it makes it now a two-possession game.
That extra point will end up on our BDTV not top 10.
If we had that.
And the punter and kicker actually looks like they're brothers, Antoine and Alan Boone. Both juniors. 4:16 to go. Blue Devils took a 20-0 lead. And then Nassim Woodard returned that kick all the way for a touchdown to make it 20-6.
And Mike, we see Adam McDaniel and Stevie Barton back there, not the usuals. We usually see Shirk, but since he's not playing today, Stevie and Adam, probably going to be the returners next season, are getting some time out there this season, right now.
Plainfield had 12 guys on the field for a second there. They get him out. Kind of interesting for us when we have offensive coordinators inside the booth so we can hear what they're saying. Short kick, Jake Dayon takes it to the 45 where he's met.
I'm like, just like Boone's kick, that was a rocket of a line drive. And Dayon just stood there, caught it right at his chest, and he brought it back for about 20-yard gain. So Westfield gets it around their own 49, 48-yard line. And it's just field position that you want to have all the time, and that's what Westfield does. Just get it to the middle of the field. And we've seen before have them field position at their opponent's 30. Just shows what their defense can do, special teams unit as well. A lot of miscommunication, Mike. Before you said there were 12 men on the field, now there were only 10. Looks like the Cardinals are just going to call a timeout. .407 to go in the second quarter. Westfield on top 20-6
You're watching Westfield Plainfield football here on Thanksgiving Day. We'll step aside on BDTV. 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils. House in the backfield. Phil Martini still in the game. And they give it up to House for about 5 yards.
And like before, we saw freshman Hank Shapiro getting warm on the sidelines. So he's a probable starter for next season, if not definitely JV. But we've seen Colin Freer get into the game. Why not throw in his quarterback as well?
Yeah, Shapiro on that far sideline, if we could get a close-up of it, right next to Coach DeSarno with a hat and clipboard.
We've been seeing him doing that all season, taking notes.
Yeah. Definitely a student of the game and could be a rare 3-year starting quarterback for Westfield.
It looks like Westfield's running with a 2 tight end scenario. We haven't seen him do that too much this season.
House is met to bring up 4th down. Good stop for the Plainfield defense. Gives them some momentum after the kickoff touchdown from Woodard. But
it looks like they're bringing in Val and Kaplan to try to get the 1st down.
Yeah, it's 4th and inches right now. Why not go for it in a spot like this? Ball's at the 46.
Surprised they're not bringing in the whole jumbo package with Kessler with the backfield and taking out one of the wide receivers.
And Plainfield steps. Goes off sides. And that's just a mistake we saw a lot last week from the Farmers of Union. On big 3rd and 4s, the Farmers would just encroach and really big mistakes in determining that game. And then you see it right there from Plainfield on a 4th and 1.
Yeah, Mike, we've seen them do that. Westfield pull that stunt so many times, and it's worked to perfection. And that's just a way to not use a down, use a player, just to trick the opposing team.
Martini's pass is incomplete.
Like, I think right now Coach Asarno has to see that Phil Martini not having his best stuff out there. Give it to Andre House, give it to Jake Valabera, give it to Jacob Kaplan. Because right now, like Phil Martini, we didn't see him have his best stuff last week, and I think it's carrying over to this week, not having his butt out there, Jack Shirk, to throw to. Coach Asarno just has to see that Phil Martini just doesn't have his best stuff and just go a different route.
Sophomore Tommy Norris in the game, number 87 at tight end. House on the sweep. 1st down and more. Wrapped up at the 30. Ball does come out at the end. Antoine Spencer came out with the football. Referees have yet to make a call. And now they're going to say House was down, so it's still Westfield football. That could have been a huge play if it was a fumble. Ball at the 30. Minute and a half. Martini looking for Humphrey, and he takes a big shot, and 2 flags are going to come in.
I'm like, that was a little late of a hit there for Humphreys. Ball was clearly over his head, and number 11, Antoine Spencer, with a huge hit, but also was
It might not be defensive pass interference. It might be targeting because it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. Humphrey looks like he's all right, though. Got up quickly.
I'm like targeting in this league. If you do it, you're out of the game. So I think that's what the referees might be deciding.
They'll rule it pass interference. So the ball will be spotted at the 14 and a fresh set of downs for Westfield as they try to extend this lead. Late in the half here, already up 20-6. Phil Martini with a 2-yard QB sneak. Wandre House with the rushing touchdown. And Martini's pass is caught by Thomas Vasillo. Going to be just short of the marker. So second and short. Tough to see the lines in end zones here. The end zone not painted or anything. So second and 2. Martini on the high snap again. It's Kaplan on the carry, but there's nowhere to go.
I think West was just trying to get the touchdown, but also just keep running out this clock. They want to get into the locker room, and they just want to get out of this game because they just want to get to MetLife as soon as they can.
Westfield has taken a timeout now with 58 seconds to go.
With it being a third and short, I'd probably give it to Wandre House or Kaplan, or even bring in Jake Delabert, just get an extra yard. And then when you're that close to the goal line, they know you're going to run it. I would do a play action fake and give it to Tommy Norris or one of your tight ends into the flat. Because, I mean, what I can see is that the Cardinal defense, they're just sticking with their corners and they're playing tight. They're not expecting the tight ends to go into the flat. So if coaches trying to see what I'm seeing, I'm pretty sure it could work out.
3rd and 1 out of this timeout for the Blue Devil offense. Sarno gives his team the play call. Be interesting to see who gets a lot of time in that second half from the group of younger guys. Probably see Jacob Salter, who's came in a couple of times this year, but only has 1 pass attempt officially. Here we go. Up the middle, it's Kaplan.
Believe he got the first down, Mike.
Did get the first down, short of the end zone, though. It's actually going to be just short.
Wow.
4th and inches for Westfield. And as they've done so many times this season, staying aggressive and going for it. Kaplan in the backfield. Martini keeps, gets the push, and picks up the first down. Almost got in.
I don't know how Phil Martini does it, but he just jumps over that line and gets that first down. We've seen him do it time and time again at the goal line. Same thing right there.
Another high snap. Martini rolling to his left. And the pass is caught for a touchdown.
And Mike, it's the freshman, Colin Freer.
Freer makes the catch after Martini makes something out of nothing. And now it's 26-6.
It's going to be a great day for the young kid. He has a long way to go in this Westfield football program, and he's starting it right now.
And Bowen is on to attempt the extra point. And his extra point is good. So 27-6. Bowen now 3 of 4 on the day on extra points. And this is the score we're expecting. Everyone was expecting when you have a team that's 10-0 taking on a 1-8 team.
Absolutely. You can tell this Cardinal team is very winded. Westfield just been running the ball back and forth. And with this very small roster, the depth is just abysmal compared to Westfield's.
So this time Aiden Bolin will kick it off. We've seen Tommy DeRosa a few times.
And now we're seeing Aiden Bolin take the kickoff, Mike.
Squib kick. Taken from the 20, bobbled. Barden was close there. Woodard breaks in a few more tackles and is down near the 40, and all of Westfield getting in on that stop. And four Blue Devils just fall on top of Woodard.
And Mike, right now, if
Not
I
letting him
was
break free again.
if I was Coach Tucker, I would just take the knee, just go into the locker room, resettle. Because right now, say Westfield does get a pick, they have a chance to bring it back, and you don't want to be down 34-6 at the half. And Mike, we're definitely going to see a lot of underclassmen and juniors coming into the game. As you said, we'll probably see Jacob Salzer. We'll probably see Anthony DeBella get into the game. Jordan Simpson, who had that fumble recovery 2 weeks ago against Bayonne.
And that big hit.
Yeah, Mike.
20 seconds to go. Doesn't look like the Cardinals will take a knee. 4 receivers, 3 on the left. Woodard has time, floats it over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Darian Murphy, the senior. But not the best pass from Woodard. 3 Blue Devils in the area. And Murphy had no shot of making the catch.
It looks like they go back out there with 4 receivers and a running back. Looks like they're trying to get the ball down the field.
Shotgun for the Cardinals. 3 receivers, 1 man in the backfield. Low snap, Woodard. Under pressure, Nick Marr, the first one there, and Valabera will bring him down with the help of Drew Ortiz. To end the first half, Westfield up 27-6 here on Thanksgiving Day. And Chris, slow start, but then Westfield really punished this Cardinal team in the second quarter.
Yeah, Mike, after the second fumble for the Cardinals, Westfield just took complete advantage. Wante House been getting it done on the ground, and we see Phil Martini step it up a little bit when it comes to the passing game. Also, this Westfield defense is just destroying the Cardinal offense. Woodard can't get anything to go, and Forsyth, the running game is just not there. So obviously, the Cardinals have to make an adjustment at the half, and Westfield just keep continuing what they're doing.
27-6, the score at the half here in the 112th meeting between the Blue Devils and the Cardinals. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and the second half of today's game coming right up here on BDTV. So welcome back to Hubstein Field here on Thanksgiving. The Blue Devils on top 27-6 against the Cardinals. Michael Leonard alongside Alex Kingsley in the second half, and Westfield receives the kickoff. Jake Dayon with a good return out to the 43, then takes a shot. Now we get to see these backups. We saw the freshman Alex Colin Freer make a really nice touchdown grab in the corner of the end zone.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely something, you wouldn't necessarily see. So huge difference for Alex Connell getting touchdowns freshman year. You don't really see freshmen sometimes heat up besides just that Ken Shapiro. It's just interesting to see. It's good for his experience, and we already know he's going to be a superstar, coming the next few years.
And interesting, Phil Martini still in the game at quarterback. House gets the carry Andre House doing all the dirty work in that first half. Picks up a few yards there.
Yeah, and I think Phil Martini's, and I think he completed probably one or two passes. I mean, Hazard and the rest of them, it was dropped, the passes weren't where they needed to be target-wise. He just, definitely something he's got to clean up for the next game, especially Cardinal MetLife. And, he's got to be near perfect against this undefeated Brazil team.
2nd and 5. House up the middle, breaks free. Inside the 40 for a first down. Good run by Wandre House. Had a lot of space there with the offensive line. Antoine Spencer on the tackle. First and 10. House again, spinning his way for about 4 yards. Had his second touchdown of the season in the second quarter. Only House's third game of the year. He's out for the first 7. With a clavicle injury. Shotgun for Westfield, 2 receivers to the left, and Facillo can hold on to it. Now, as he could definitely tell, with no disrespect to Ian Humphrey and Thomas Facillo, they're just not at the same level of the usual crew with Mike Moriarty and Jack Shirk.
Yeah, they're just playing super sloppy. I mean, I was talking with Matt Harris, one of the team coaches. He was saying, like, they're not really going to perform against this team. They're not putting a lot of their energy into this game. Obviously, focusing for next week. But, even though they didn't pay attention, they still need to clean up these sloppy errors.
House picks up the first down and breaks a tackle down near the 20.
I think, Mike, on every single run that he's had, there's always been a big opening. And every game we go through is the fact that you need to give a lot of credit to offensive line. Creating those big holes for him to just break out and have an incredible run at every single time. I'm sure he'd be averaging probably 7 or 8 yards per carry off of just 10-yard games like that.
Martini steps back, fakes and throws, looking for Humphrey, who got tripped up, and it's pass interference on Halim Woods, the junior.
Yeah, no question. I mean, obviously you can't see, but I was just by the flag, imagine I was throwing it. I mean, for sure, intent wise she was pulled down, and that was a clear pass interference. I don't think you could get into the question there. So now it's Westfield going to get a huge gain, and these are things, especially with pass interferences and the way that it works, they're just going to get a lot of yards out of this mistake that Plainfield made.
You're not sure it was incidental tripping or anything?
No, I definitely, I mean, it was almost like the defender kind of almost like grabbed his shirt or maybe even a little bit of his pants. Almost certain that was pass interference.
It actually looks like they picked up the flag. It's 2nd and 10 from the same spot. And House is met by Emmanuel Para. Makes it 3rd and 10. House will come out. Jacob Kaplan, the fullback, will come in.
I don't think Mikey gets as much credit as he really deserves. Most of the time he's in there for blocking purposes, but sometimes when they really need him for his size, he'll really get the job done.
Martini looking again for Ian Humphrey. That one just too far, too high up.
Again, like another example of this team has to clean up so much. They only have so much time to prepare. They cannot play like this if they want to win the state championship. Let alone win this game.
going to go for it. Martini. Pass is caught. Stevie Barden has to fight for the extra yards, and he is well short. Darian Murphy and Aleem Woods on the stop. So Blue Devils turn it over on downs to give the ball back to the Farmers. Nassim Woodard had the only touchdown of the day for the Cardinals on the 85-yard kickoff return. Design QB run. Picks up a few yards. Ball comes out at the end. Jake Dayon had it, but Woodard was down. Picked up 3 on that play. 4 minutes into the third quarter here with 8:15 remaining. Cardinals down 27-6, and pretty similar score to what we saw last year. Westfield winning 32-6.
I don't know, how it was in the Plainfield locker room, but if they want to win this game, something's got to get done here. They need to score, obviously touchdown being most desirable, but they just need to get the ball downfield and bring some momentum to this team.
Handoff up the middle. Nick Marr there for the stop. Number 8 on defense is Connor Stanley. 8 on offense is Colin Freer. Brings up third, about 6 yards. For the Cardinals, last game of the season, and for these seniors, last game of their career. Really nice crowd turned up and came out today. There's a lot of bleachers on the main side, and they're all filled. Fourth flag in motion, and it's Woodard under pressure, trying to escape it, and he does. The first down and more, and walks out of bounds to avoid a hit from Val.
He might be under pressure. Most of the passing plays he has, obviously, besides the running game. But when he scrambles, he takes a field general. He knows exactly what defenders are able to take him out, and able to take break tackles in a sense where he's going to get a lot farther than you think he might. He'll extend plays and even create things out of nothing during the play.
So Woodard picked up the first down for the Cardinals and lone backfield with 4 receivers. For the Cardinals. Again, fourth flag in motion. This time he gets the ball. And he runs in hard to the Blue Devil defense. Play picks up 5 for Plainfield. You could definitely sense Alex right now. Westfield, they just kind of want to get out of here, go have a good Thanksgiving with their family, and then get back to work on tomorrow for practice and get ready for the huge game next Saturday.
Yeah, I think they kind of just want this game to end at the end. They, like you said, there's a lot to focus on. A lot of preparation to go into. They want to be their main focus is next week, not sticking away.
Laser of a pass is complete out to the middle, and a first down. Darian Murphy, the senior, makes a catch, and Nassim Woodard fired that ball in there.
It's almost like so far in the second half, this offense has kind of been penetrating this defense, where they found pockets of free space for Woodard to scramble, and also in this case for Danny Murphy, you have a nice play near midfield. So far it looks pretty good for this Plainfield team. Let's just see if they can keep it up.
They had fourth bag on the screen. Woodard keeps it, bounces off his own line, still on his feet, and then Ben Kelly will push him out.
Yeah, if I were Woodard in that play, I definitely would give it to fourth bag. It was in a motion in the backfield, but also came back around. Plenty of open field. Instead, he held on to it. He was gonna run up, right into the defensive lineman. So it came out. He just didn't really gain anything on the play. I think sometimes he needs to be smarter. Obviously, it's like I said, it's obvious that he wants to run the ball essentially all the time, but he needs to think about the rest of his team as well.
Woodard under pressure, and he's sacked by Valavera.
Yeah, it looks like Woodard just having a tough time out there. Definitely getting pressured. The offensive line is not helping in that case. But again, I would not agree with his playmaking in that situation. I saw again Danny Murphy have a little bit of space and room for a decent pass. Would have been a completion. Instead, he's sacked. I think there were one or two other receivers that had space, but the pressure might just get to him in this case. His natural way to get out of something is not just to throw it up; it's really to scramble. But just in these last two plays, I'm not agree with the playmaking he's had.
Third and 15. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Cardinals trailed by 21. Down 3 scores. Trying to get something going. Taj, fourth bag up the middle. But not much room to go. Elliott on the tackle, along with a couple other Blue Devils.
Looks like a gain of about 2 or 3 yards. Not really getting anything out of that. Looks like the Plainfield offense is kind of slowed down, even though they had a short spark.
They'll be forced to just punt it away. Emmett Smith back there. And it's Alan Boone onto punt. We saw one punt get blocked by Valadera. And we saw just an awful extra point attempt from this Cardinal special teams unit. Alan Boone's the punter. And his brother Antoine Boone's the place kicker. So here's Alan Boone. Line drive of a punt, and pretty good one as it takes a favorable Plainfield bounce and down at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I think that was a smart play by Smith. If I were him, right at the beginning, if it would have dropped, because it was about right about the 25-yard line, could have got something out of it, but at that point, I agree, just leave it. You don't want to get a hard hit, get injured, have fumble. There are lots of different things that could happen in a play like that. So I think it's a smart thing to leave it. And even though it's not the best field position for the Blue Devils, it's something to start with.
Martini still in the game. Under center. Wander House in the backfield. No sight of Jack Shirk today. Or Kyle Dombrowski, as House is hit hard. Couple of Cardinals defenders on the stop. Antoine Boone and Antoine Spencer. Incomplete pass there from Martini.
Mike, I don't even know who's really intended for that pass. That could have easily been tipped by a Plainfield defender. Also tipped by like he was trying to get the ball. That was, again, I don't know what's going through Martini's head, but he needs to get everything together here. he's not playing as well as he has been the whole season. I've never seen him play like this. This is unlike we've seen him play before. So I
They
think
definitely struggled a little bit early on last week, but today just much more of a run-heavy offense. The late handoff for House had a big hole to his left, but he went opposite way, and he stopped. 3 and out for the Plainfield defense. Forces Westfield to come out and punt. The Cardinals will get good field position. They'll see Woodard. He's doing it all, basically, for this Cardinal team all season long. Their kick returner, their punt returner, starting quarterback. Also played some wide receiver this season. Had a couple of receiving touchdowns. Aiden Bowen, the junior, with a good punt, forces Woodard to back up. And it bounces all the way to the 35.
definitely a really nice punt. Dabrowski was having, as we know, a very great year punting wise, but that was definitely comparable. It's good to see Aim Bowens at his level, especially for next year. I mean, when Dabrowski graduates, as we know, Bowens can be the person who's going to step up and be the punter and also kicker, possibly also kickoff kicker as well.
The Plainfield team that has really struggled this year and the past 5 years. Since they upset Westfield in 2011, back at Keller, 22-21 final score, the Cardinals have gone 5-43 the past 5 years. Really struggling. Westfield's won 9 of the last 10 Thanksgiving games. They're gonna make it 10-11. Woodard escapes the pressure, escapes the referee, and just throws it out of bounds.
Yeah, sure. Again, pressured even more. Actually, on the run, that pass was actually not too bad. There were two receivers there to get the ball. Obviously, they couldn't get it, but definitely shows Woodard's versatility in being able to pass and also run at the same time.
It sort of reminds us of about a month ago, Elizabeth's quarterback, John and Moose. Similar player, does it all, receiving, returning, quarterback. Very versatile and athletic football player. Moose and Elizabeth's season came to an end last week when they lost to Bridgewater. Minutemen gave Bridgewater run for the money. Elizabeth had a 7-0 lead early on. Cut it to a 1-point game in the second half. But then Nick Agnazio, the quarterback for the Panthers of Bridgewater, had scored 2 touchdowns late. Ball's loose. Spencer falls on top of it to make it 3rd and very long. Jake Dayon will get credit with the tackle.
Very dangerous play, Mike. I mean, laterals are not the ideal play. Obviously, when you have a lateral, it means something went wrong with the play. And in that case, everyone's almost given up. With Ware being the only one back, with Spencer being the only one back there, there was nobody else to get that. He had to fall on top of it. Luckily for him, he did. You can't make that play again.
Seconds left, 3rd and 22. Woodard screen pass. Again, it's just dropped by Taj Fort's bag. Second time they tried to run that screen pass this afternoon, and both times just incomplete.
Plainfield definitely have a tough time so far this possession. Losing plenty of yards, in this case it's just going to pile on for them. As it looks like Emmett Smith is going to be even farther in their own territory instead of in Westfield's own territory as the punt comes up.
Yeah, ball's at the 20-yard line. And Smith is standing at the Plainfield 44. He shows the weakness this Cardinals team, but they'll move him back a little bit. He muffs it, but it picks it back up, and he's brought down. see a late push from Nassim Woodard. That definitely should be a flag. Just shove Ben Kelly right in the face. Face mask.
Yeah, definitely don't want dirty plays like that. It ruins the game, like, unnecessary roughness calls, things like that. It just doesn't make the game fun. It makes the game dangerous for the players to get possibly injured. But it is what it is. Tensions, the tensions rise, and egos, they have big egos here, and clashing together, lots of things can happen.
Bill Martini in a shotgun with House behind him. The last play of the third quarter, and House picks up a few yards there at the end. Late push. Looks like he's hurt.
Yeah, it looks like he's on the ground right now.
That is not good.
Some of the trainers too, Mike.
Andre House is Westfield's third string running back, but he's the starter right now. And you really hope he's all right. Navarano Frasco already out for the season. But the Blue Devils up 27-6 here on Thanksgiving Day at Hubstein Field. We'll have the fourth quarter coming right up.
Welcome back here to Hubstein Field. Hubstein legendary Plainfield coach back in the early 1900s. And a pretty nice athletic facility Plainfield's got. Martini out of the play action finds Kaplan for a gain of about 7, and Spencer delivers a big hit. Pretty nice baseball field all the way over there to the right. Definitely nice tennis courts straight ahead. And a nice atmosphere for a football game down in front of us. No lights either here at Hubstein Field. Kaplan breaks free. There goes Kaplan inside the 20. And now we were talking about it last week against Union, saying Kaplan run his way to MetLife.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, like I was saying before, he doesn't get as much credit as he should. He's a very good blocker, and he only usually runs when you need a few yards. But like you said, in a few cases like this in the last game, he actually ran for more than 10 yards, and it was definitely incredible. He's definitely a rough and tough kind of player, and in this case, he broke free, and there he went, almost saying into the house. He was actually He was actually tripped up by Manuel Pereira. But definitely a good game for this Blue Devils.
10:30 to go. Martini fakes the throw. Kaplan on the run. Almost into the end zone. Picks up the first down. I'll probably give it again to Kaplan and let him get a touchdown. First and goal for Westfield. 2 receivers on the near side, 1 on the far. Kaplan is stopped short. And Alex, if Plainfield didn't have those fumbles, this could be a lot closer of a game because Westfield's offense hasn't been too terrific so far today.
No, and you make a good point, but I would also have to, in one case, disagree. Just because this Plainfield offense has not been getting a lot done so far today. You definitely make a good point with the fact that if they didn't have those fumbles, maybe they would have kept the momentum they had. But I'm not sure. Time will tell, and as you say, sometimes in basketball, ball don't lie. So I guess right now, I couldn't see them coming back and taking a lead.
Pass is incomplete. Thomas Facillo and Ian Humphrey have had a tough time today of just holding on to those passes and completing them. 3rd and goal. Ball's at the 4-yard line. Martini under pressure, and the pass is deflected to bring up 4th and goal. Westfield probably going to go for it, though. But they'll send Aiden Bolin out for the field goal. Bolin's first field goal attempt of the season, first field goal attempt as a varsity player, but not really much more than an extra point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen probably 2 or 3 just on the season. So they always don't want to. It's almost like they don't want to settle for a field goal. They want to go big with the touchdown every possession.
21-yard field goal. Humphrey on the hold. Bolin on the kick, and the kick is good. 30-6. Makes it tough to tell those field goals with the very, very short goalposts, especially when a kicker like Bolin who really kicks that ball up high.
For sure. I mean, it almost looks like they got cut off at the top.
Yeah, and there was some hesitation from the 2 officials.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to tell. But I think what I heard Chris say before was the fact that it looks wide, the goalpost in general, especially compared to Keller. But that also could just be the fact that it's cut down, so the dimensions look larger. But it is what it is. All that matters is Aiden's field goal was good, and we keep on moving here. As you said, just said, Blue Devils lead the Cardinals 30-6.
And Bolin will do the kickoff here. Saw DeRosa in that first half, but the past 2 times it's been Aiden Bolin. And again, he keeps it on the ground, picked up at the 20. Shea Elliott and Joe Sangiacomo and Drew Ortiz on the stop.
I mean, this Plainfield offense, I mentioned before at the beginning of the 3rd quarter, they definitely have to get something done. And I'm not sure even if they score here, will it really make a difference, considering this Blue Devil team is just so good. Undefeated on the year. Like you said before, 23 straight wins, looking for their 24th in a row. I see a 1% chance the Plainfield Cardinals come back.
9 minutes left in this ball game. Saw the freshman Colin Freer get a touchdown. Woodard pass is incomplete. Looking for Shamari Scott Houston. Woodard, sort of a nonchalant pass right there, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been nonchalant, but it was a good pass, and that was not not to be mean or anything, but that was completely Shamari Scott Houston's fault. And it was right there, right in his mitts. It actually touched his hands, and he just dropped it. We haven't seen all game. We haven't seen many passes from Woodard, but the ones that we've seen so far have been pretty good. Perfect example of that. When he puts it up, it's a very good throw. It's just these receivers just don't finish the job.
Plainfield lines up with 2 tight ends. Woodard has an open receiver in Darian Murphy, but overthrows him.
Yeah, definitely his favorite target so far, just watching this game. I don't think there's been the best chemistry as well as I saw on the sideline earlier before. Off that one possession when it was 3 straight scrambles going for the 3 and out, Woodard was open 2 of the 3 plays, was not happy on the sideline. So
looks like a little miscommunication on that play from the Westfield secondary. Joe Sangiacomo and Ben Kelly having a little conversation. There's an open man down the field. Fort Fag in motion to the far side. Woodard tries to find Fort Fag, but he continues to overthrow his receivers.
Yeah, I mean, the first pass he had to Scott Houston was perfect, and then these past two plays, they've just been well over the heads of the intended receivers. And these are just simple things you have to figure out. You know, both players were pretty wide open during the intended passes. I don't know what to say, Mike. There's just 8:40 left in the game. It's definitely going to bring the Plainfield season to an end.
30-6 score, 8:40 to go. Another punt for Allen Boone. Smith awaiting the punt at the Westfield 43. It's a high punt and fair catch signaled, but not taken by Smith as he lets it bounce and go out of bounds near the 35. With 8.5 to go, now I'm assuming we won't see Martini. And it will be Jacob Salter, the backup. Salter at a sophomore.
I think it just looks like the entire JV squad out there. Definitely a smart decision. If I were Coach Desarno, I'd bring them out even earlier, probably at the start of the fourth quarter, but obviously it's not my call. Instead, they're going to end this game. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a score or not, and we'll just see what happens.
Handoff up the middle. For Anthony DeBella, the junior. Had a touchdown a few weeks back against Bayonne. Emmett Smith at wide receiver along with Jason Cassett. Matt McIntyre in the game. Jake Obsgarden also playing today. First game back for Obsgarden. Was supposed to be out for the season, but he's in there. Back and healthy, number 33 at fullback. And Westfield loses the ball. I think Salzer fell right on top of it, though. Been a bunch of loose balls today, so ball's got to be pretty slippery.
Salter's going to come back on the field replacing McIntyre. Maybe he'll make a difference, I'm not really sure.
Trips left for the Blue Devils. Salzer on the move. Under pressure. He escapes the sack, completes a pass for a gain of a yard. He's got a shoulder pad popped out. .6:44 to go on Thanksgiving Day. '72nd year they're playing this game on Thanksgiving morning. 112th overall meeting. Bolin booms a punt. Down near the 30.
Yeah, it's going to stay right where it landed. 6:17 left in the ball game. Let's see if the JV defense, can do some better than the offense can.
This is going to be Westfield's 24th consecutive victory. So a full 2 years on the calendar without losing. Very impressive from Coach Jim DeSarno's team. DeSarno improved to 82-55 in his coaching career here at Westfield High School, and now 10-1 on Thanksgiving against the Cardinals. Split wide receivers for the Cardinals. And Woodard breaks a few tackles and picks up a first down. So good run.
Always extending plays, Mike, breaking tackles, fighting for every single yard, as it actually looks like he's going to limp off the field. I mean, wouldn't be surprised if that was the last play he played in his high school career.
Yeah, Woodard takes a seat on the bench in some pain. Just got a feel for Nassim right there. It looks like his right foot can't put any pressure on it. As you said earlier, that Westfield JV defense in the game. Matt McIntyre at safety. Joe Sangiacomo, starter, still in there. And that pass is intercepted by Joe Sangiacomo, his second pick of the season. First one coming back again, all the way against Linden.
Yeah, I mean,
Right place at the right time.
For sure. I mean, with just about 5 minutes left in this game, great, nice interception. You got to bring the offense back in the field. At this point, there's nothing really to gain or lose, even with these silly mistakes coming off of Leonte Langston. But again, it looks like the twos are going to come out for the offense. As Salter, again, he made a nice play that we didn't really talk about in the last possession. He avoided the sack, had a nice little drop pass to Emmitt Smith, even though he didn't go anywhere, but proves that he knows what he's doing out there scrambling-wise, and he can definitely extend plays and get the ball to his receivers.
So Woodard goes out for one play, and the next play, the backup quarterback throws an interception. Good run from Tommy DeRosa right there. Picked up 50 yards a couple weeks ago against Bayonne. Five minutes to go. Westfield definitely eat up some clock. Could be the final possession of the game. Woodard looks like his high school career is all over. Helmets off, getting attended to. Did have that nice kickoff return earlier today.
DeBella then takes the carry, just right into the trenches. I'm sure we're going to see the slow-paced offensive defense for the rest of the game. It's not, like I said before, Blue Devils are up 24. It looks like you said before, they're going to come away with their 24th straight win.
Still chippy out there. After DeBella was tackled, some pushing and shoving from the Blue Devils and the Cardinals. And that's what you expect in a rivalry like this. But it's a rivalry that's been one-sided the past decade. Salter, the pitch, ball's loose. Plainfield has the football.
We were seeing it a lot on Plainfield side, just a little sloppy, but I guess this JV team just isn't as good as the Plainfield varsity team. Definitely taking it back on them, and they're going to be in Westfield's territory. We'll see. Maybe we can even see another Plainfield touchdown.
Just a little nerves, really, from the backups. Salter pitched it. Might have been a little bit behind DeBella, and they put the ball on the rock. But if you need these guys to get experience for the future, and today's the day to do it in a varsity game in an atmosphere like today.
Yeah, there's no other better situation for that. You need, doing it in practice is one thing, but actually doing it in a game is another.
Handoff up the middle for Taj Fort-Fag. Breaks free. Fort-Fag escapes, and he runs it to the end zone for a Plainfield touchdown. So the Cardinals make the score a little bit more respectable at 30-12. Still trailing by 18. If they go for two here, it's a two-score game, so they'll probably do that. They did miss that extra point earlier.
Yeah, like I said before, it's very possible we could see another Plainfield touchdown. The JV team, I guess, just isn't as good as the varsity team. They took advantage, and Fort Fag brought it to the house.
Yeah, the Cardinals They still have all their starters in except for quarterback Leonte Langston, who's in because of Woodard's injury. And they are going to go for 2 to try to make it a 2-possession game. Langston under center with Antoine Spencer behind him. They give it up. Spencer lowers the shoulder, and he's in. So the 2-point conversion is good for the Cardinals, and it makes it 30-14. So a 16-point Westfield lead with 3:45 to go. Cardinals have to send it off now, but maybe we see DeSarno throw out the starters because you don't want to have another turnover. What would you do, Alex, with not a lot of time left, but you obviously don't want another turnover?
I keep those 2s out there. There's only 3:46 left in the game. 16-point lead. Plainfield would need to get 2 extra points on 2 touchdowns. Very unlikely for it to happen. But it looks like DeSarno's going to do his thing and going to send out the starters to just get the job done. Personally, I just would want to keep my guys healthy. We saw a scare from Andre House before. Injuries could happen in any situation, and we don't want that. We don't want that happening in the last 3 minutes and 46 seconds of the Plainfield game right before MetLife.
Yeah, I agree. I think you send the backups back in there because you got to just learn from their mistakes. Only way to do that is get back on the field and see what DeSarno does.
Yeah, very good.
Second.
Very good point you make. They just need this experience. And like I said before, practice isn't enough. They need to get in a real game, and this is the perfect situation when they're up by 16. They don't have anything to worry about.
So the Cardinals going to attempt an onside kick, Antoine Boone, but it does not work at all. An easy recovery for the Blue Devils. .340 to go. Rory McGovern on the recovery for Westfield. Handoff up the middle for Westfield. It's Anthony DeBella. Doesn't pick up much.
Looks like he's going to be a timeout as well, Mike.
Cardinals just extending this game a little bit longer as they call their first timeout of the game. And Rory McGovern, who recovered that fumble, the junior, could potentially finish his high school career with 4 state championships. His freshman year was at St. Peter's, got a ring, came back to Westfield. His sophomore year, won the state title. We'll see what they could do next week and next year. So that would be something to have 4 state championship rings.
So many people only have 1. So many people haven't even been to a state championship game. So, I mean, that's just, very, very, very rare to see. But listen, you still got a game to play on next Saturday, I'm sorry. And, we'll just have to see. I mean, hopefully, obviously, they win. But, time will just tell them. Bridgewater is ranked higher in the New Jersey rankings, and they're also undefeated. So definitely it's going to be a huge standoff between these 2 teams.
Just like last year, both teams coming into the game 11-0. Panthers ranked 8th in the state, Westfield 10th. But quite frankly, those rankings don't mean anything. Last year, Bridgewater was higher. Westfield comes out on top with a 10-7 victory. Another run and another timeout called by the Cardinals brings up 3rd and long for Westfield, 3rd and about 8 to be exact. 3.5 minutes remaining. Blue Devils up by 16.
Mike, I mentioned before, that, now they have the stars back out there, but I noticed that Salter's still out there. They kept Martini on the bench. Very smart decision. Obviously the offensive line, rough and tough, they can withstand lots of contact, and probably withstand injuries, knock on wood. But yeah, definitely a great opportunity for Salter to get more time and just to keep Martini healthy on the bench. Big game next weekend. We'll just have to see what happens.
So 2 receivers on that far side. For Westfield, handoff up the middle. DeBella is stopped short. And it brings up 4th down. Aiden Bolin back to punt. Cardinals use their final timeout to stop the clock to give them a little bit of hope here. If they could quickly score and recover an onside kick, but the last onside kick attempt did not look pretty. Not been a good day for Antoine Boone.
Alan Boone back to receive the punt, and Aim Bolin's going to kick it. And as we've seen before the past 2 times, incredible kicks.
It's a low snap, hit the ground, but Bolin gets it off and does a very good job.
Low kick too, Mike. But you know, as we've seen, Aim Bolin definitely connecting again. He's definitely going to be the punter next year. I have no question in whether he wouldn't be. But very successful, and over time, he's only junior. There's room for improvement. He's going to get better, and he's going to just do one heck of a job on the special teams end for this team.
We'll switch out the football. They snap that one right from the eye in the Plainfield Cardinal. And now the Cardinals will take over with the ball at the 23. Woodard is still out. So it's Leonte Langston at quarterback, and his second pass attempt is complete out to Dante Porter. Porter 6'5", 210 pounds. Four receivers set. It's a screen pass caught, a spin move, and eventually brought down is Alan Boone. Ethan Bandelli, the junior, on the stop to make it 3rd and 8. Just over 2 minutes to go. Fans beginning to file out here on Thanksgiving Day. The football team had their annual Thanksgiving breakfast early this morning. And that pass is intercepted by Matt McIntyre. The sophomore comes away with the interception. Just a poor decision by Langston.
Yeah, I mean, end of the game. I mean, obviously, you know, that's an unfortunate play, but like I said, end of the game. You don't have your best 11 out there on the field, but you know, as we see now, Mike, fans leaving the game.
Yeah, that interception will really file out the crowd. And so the Blue Devils win their 24th consecutive game, 11-0 on the 2016 season. And it sets up a great matchup next Saturday. Junior DeBella gets the carry. Plainfield defense tried to strip the ball. Didn't work. No timeouts left for the Cardinals, so that clock will just run out.
Looks like you said, just looks like Blue Devils going to take a knee. Maybe even on their 4th down play, try to get some together, draw some up maybe even for a touchdown, but I don't see that even being necessary.
Now the emotions come out from the Cardinals. Final minute of football. Always tough. A senior class that did not win many games. 5-44 the past 5 years. Seniors actually had fewer wins than that, because a couple of those came 5 years ago when these guys were in 8th grade. So Westfield getting the job done once again. Phil Martini did not have a busy day. All he did was really hand it off to Wandre House. Martini did get in the end zone on a QB sneak. Pretty sure Martini scored in every single game, had a touchdown, whether throwing or running. Joe Sangiacomo, Matt McIntyre come up with some late interceptions. And the Blue Devils defeat Plainfield 30-14 for the 10th time in the past 11 years. And just a great day to be a Blue Devil, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another big win. Westfield didn't play to their full potential, as we saw. Like I said before, I think they played a little sloppy on offense. Their defense always showing up, playing a very nice game. But, you know, as we were talking about, this Westfield team's got a lot to prepare for. Now they can have their main focus be MetLife Stadium. The state final, as you said before, against Bridgewater, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I think it's just going to be a great battle next week. I think Westfield did the job they needed to get done, even though, like I said, it wasn't in the best fashion they could have done it in. They did what they needed to do, and now they're ready for next week.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching all season long here on BDTV. Only one game left. We'll have it right here for you next Saturday. The Blue Devils take care of business, 30-14 against their rival, the Plainfield Cardinals. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you next week.